Hi, I'm Brad Coleman. I'm the campus pastor at Christ Church Highland Park, and I'm happy to be bringing this devotional to you today as we trek through the book of John during the season of Lent. Today we are in John chapter 4, verses 43 through 54. I'd encourage you to read the whole passage. I'm going to pick it up at verse 47. There's a royal official in Capernaum who's heard that Jesus is in the town. And he says this, it says this, when he heard that Jesus had come out of Judea into Galilee, he went to him and was requesting him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Jesus therefore said to him, unless you people see signs and wonders, you simply will not believe. The royal official said to him, Sir, come down before my child dies. Jesus said to him, go your way, your son lives. The man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him, and he started off. And as he was going, his slaves met him, saying that his son was living. So he inquired of them the hour when he began to get better. And they said, yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the hour in which Jesus had said to him, your son lives. And he himself believed, and his whole household. This is again a second sign that Jesus performed when he had come out of Judea into Galilee. Well, I want to focus in this passage on verse 48, where Jesus says, unless you people see signs and wonders, you simply will not believe. I'm reminded of Jesus sending out 70 of his disciples 2 by 2 and giving them authority to preach the gospel, to cast out demons, and to heal. And when the 70 return, they're rejoicing and they say, even the demons were subject to us in your name. They're excited. And Jesus doesn't rebuke them. He says, he affirms them first. He says, I saw Satan falling from heaven like lightning. And then he says, I've given you authority to minister in my name. But then he says, but don't rejoice in this. Rejoice in your salvation. Rejoice that you know me. Rejoice in the interior work of transformation that's taking place in you as my life becomes more evident in you. He says, rejoice in that. I'm also reminded again of Thomas needing evidence, needing a sign to believe. He says, I won't believe that Jesus has risen from the dead until I can touch the wounds in his hands and his side. And so Jesus finally appears to Thomas and invites him, doesn't rebuke him, invites him, touch my wounds. And Thomas just falls to the ground on his knees and says, my Lord and my God. Again, Jesus doesn't rebuke, but he says, blessed are you because you've seen and believed, but even more blessed are those who believe and have not seen. Jesus seems always to affirm our desire for evidence, our desire, our longing to see his hand at work, to see his power, but he always seems to point us back toward a childlike, humble faith, a simple trust in his goodness. Why are we so enamored with signs and wonders? Why are we so longing to see evidence? Often we'll say, if only I could see what the disciples saw, and my faith would be so strong. Or if only Jesus would remove these difficult circumstances that I'm in, then my faith would be so strong, I would trust him so deeply. And there's nothing wrong, certainly, with a desire to see God's hand at work in our lives, to see his power at work. But Jesus seems always to point us back to a humble, childlike faith, a simple trust in God's goodness, that no matter what we're going through, God remains good. Jesus will not rebuke our desire to see his hand at work, our desire to see his power at work in our midst. But may we be a people who are growing so firm and strong in our deep trust in God's goodness, in our childlike, humble faith, that we're able to say, no matter what, God, you remain good, and I trust you. Amen.